Going into the 1939 season, the New York Giants had a very successful first 13 years in the NFL. And as a franchise, they won a couple championships. They played in some others and just had some great all-around stars and made a few bucks for the Mara family. Well, today we're going to talk about the 1939 season, as interesting as it is, and a few stories to boot. It's all coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to another edition of the New York Giants 100th anniversary celebration. It's the 100th season in 2024 for the New York Giants, and we are learning so much about the National Football League, pro football in general, by studying the Giants. Now, hope you've followed along with us here. We've got about 27 already pre-recorded podcasts you can go and learn about different aspects of the Giants, and we're sort of going chronologically through the Giants' history, and this takes us up to one of a pivotal year for the Giants, 1939. They entered the season that year with very high expectations. After all, they had just won the National Football League's championship game, defeating the Green Bay Packers the year before, and Steve Owen, their head coach, was very innovative, and he was known for his strategic and defensive schemes. The roster featured several key players, including Tuffy Leemans, a dynamic running back, and played a little bit of linebacker too, whose versatility and skill were pivotal to the team's success. Another standout was Mel Hein, the center and lineman on defense, a dominant force on both sides of the football, as he played a little bit of linebacker and center. And the Giants' preparation, which was involved some great training from their coach Steve Owen and others, focused on strengthening their already formidable defense while enhancing their offensive capabilities. And still having Ed Danowski as their quarterback, Tuffy Leemans, Ward Cuff. They still had some very good stars that we've talked about in previous episodes of this. So let's go game by game for the Giants that season. Now, September 24th, 1939, they kicked off the season and they went to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Giants ended up prevailing in that game, 13-3. It was a defensive struggle with minimal scoring, but the Giants managed to pull out a close victory with early field goals by Ken Strong and Ward Cuff, who shared the kicking duties that day, and a 16-yard touchdown run by Tuffy Leemans. All the stars came out. Defense played well, 13-3. They're 1-0 on the books. Now, October 1st was their next game, and the Giants played the Washington Redskins. And that game ended up being a scoreless tie. The Giants showcased their denying defense, but the Skins D held serve during the game. Mel Hein had some key defensive plays to shut the Redskins down. 0-0. Now they're 1-0-1 to start the season. Next up was the Pittsburgh Pirates. The result was the Giants 14, doubling up the Pirates 7 points scored. The upstarts Pirates, they led by 7 at in a touchdown at halftime, but Ed Danowski found Ward Cuff twice with touchdown passes in the third quarter, and it was a case where the Giants offense proved a little bit too much, that they could score when they had to, and the defense was as crucial in securing the victory and shutting down Pittsburgh. 14-7 Giants, 2-0-1 is a record. Next up was the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants dominated their foes from Philly, 27-10 in that game, giving up 2 early scores by Philly, and then they rattled off 27 unanswered points the rest of the way, coasted to victory, played some great defense. Steve Owen's happy, and they did some great things. The star of that game was Hank Soar, who has an exceptional third quarter pick 6, and Mel Hein, again, dominated both sides of the ball with his blocking and tackling. Hank Soar with that great pick 6 to lead the defense. October 22nd came up. They played the vaunted Chicago Bears. And it was a close game, but the Bears ended up not falling a little bit short at the end. 16-13 Giants was the final score. Close game where the Giants secured a narrow win against the resilient Bears team. New York led 16-0 in the middle of the fourth quarter. on 3 Ward Cuff field goals and a Len Barnum rushing score, only to see Sid Luckman, the famous quarterback of the Bears, and company make a comeback with 2 late scores to narrow the margin to 3 points, but Giants win 16-13. On the 29th, the Giants and the Brooklyn Dodgers played in a Battle of New York. Another solid defensive performance by the Giants, coupled with just enough offense and a successful try. The Giants won 7-6 in that game. Tuffy Leemans scored on a 2-yard touchdown run, and Ken Strong put the ball through the uprights and countered the 2 field goals by the Dodgers. Mel Hein continued to play very strong up the middle on defense and on offense. November 5th, the Giants played the Detroit Lions. This ended up being the first loss for the Giants that season. They fell 14-18 to the Lions. Close contests where the Giants fell short in a tightly contested game. New York was up 14-9 entering into the 4th period. But a slowed TD catch from Ken Ryan, 6-yard touchdown pass, along with a 33-yard Martinovich field goal near the end, gave the Detroit squad the victory in this game. Tuffy Leemans scored the Giants' first touchdown on a 47-yard pass from Len Barnum, and Al Owen caught a 5-yard toss from Danowski for the other score in that game. November 12, 1939, the Giants played the Chicago Cardinals. The Giants prevailed in that game 17-7, secured the win with a strong start, giving up a lone touchdown to Marshall Goldberg in the 4th quarter, but it wasn't enough for the Cards. Giants 17, Cardinals 7. Now, Hank Soar scored the first touchdown and then booted its extra point. Tuffy Leemans caught a touchdown pass from Barnum in the 2nd consecutive game. Mel Hein, a defensive anchor. And Len Barnum not only threw the earlier mentioned touchdown to Leemans, but also kicked the extra point and an additional field goal later in the game. On the 19th of November, the Giants played the Pittsburgh Pirates once again. It was pretty much the same result. They beat them 14-7 the first time. This time it was 23-7. Another dominant defensive showing and effective offensive play. Hank Soar contributed significantly with a rushing touchdown. Mel Hein, solid again on both sides of the ball. Len Barnum kicked 2 field goals. Ken Strong added an additional field goal. And Eddie Miller ran 21 yards to pay dirt, while Barnum split the uprights on the extra point for that one for the 23 points. On the 26th of November, the Giants played the Brooklyn Dodgers once again. This time it was 28-7. The Giants. They concluded the regular season with a convincing 27 win over Brooklyn, and Tuffy Leemans was instrumental in multiple key runs and rushing touchdowns, and Jim Lee Howe hauled in 2 aerial touchdowns, continuing his exceptional season, and the defense led by Mel Hein was instrumental in controlling the game and securing victory. Now, that I said that was a final game. It was not. December 3rd, 1939, the Giants played the Washington Redskins again. This was a very big game because going into the game, both teams had 1 loss and 1 tie. The winner was going to win the Eastern Division and go on into the NFL Championship game. The Giants scored on 2 cuff field goals and a third by Ken Strong, scoring them 9 points. And the Redskins narrowed the gap in the 4th quarter with a touchdown from Bob Masterson. Bob Masterson caught a 20-yard touchdown from Frank Philcock, who would later become a Giant a few years later. But the game was significant because if Washington had won, they would have finished with a better record than the Giants would have and won the Eastern Division. Giants finished at 9-1-1, Washington at 8-2-1. So you see how close that race was. And it all came down to that final game, December 3rd. So the Giants move on into the National Football League Championship game. And for the season, Leemans was a standout player of the season, providing exceptional rushing performance. Mel Hein, every single game, he was a key contributor offensively and defensively. And Len Barnum, talent back, was second on the Giants with rushing with 237 yards, second only to Tuffy Leemans' 429 yards that led the team, and he had those multiple touchdowns. Ed Danowski played quarterback and was crucial in managing the game and making key plays. And the veteran signal caller's performance in high-pressure situations was vital to the Giants' success. Steve Owen, again, coach, was a significant factor in the Giants' successful season, and his innovative defensive strategies and effective game management played a crucial role in the team's overall performance. So They go into the National Football League Championship game, December 10, 1939, and this time it's the Western Division's time to host the game. And it's an old foe. It's the Green Bay Packers once again, a rematch of the 1938 game that was played at the Polo Grounds that we talked about last time. The expectations entering the game was that the New York defense would throttle the potent Packers offense. They hadn't played during their season. And like opponents, the Bears was one of them, the Cardinals, and New York had handled both those teams, losing to the Lions. But the opposite occurred as the hometown Packers scored the game's opening touchdown and then befuddled the Giants' defense for the rest of the afternoon with long runs and a potent aerial attack. The Giants could muster little resistance to Green Bay as the Pack won the title game 27-0. And Arnie Erber and Don Hudson and Coach Curly Lambeau, they had a field day that day at the Wisconsin State Fair Park for those home crowd Wisconsins, and the Cheeseheads were celebrating that day with a masterful game, 27-0 in the championship game. So the Giants come in second place in the NFL. Packers win it for one of their multiple championships in NFL history. But it was a great season all in all, and it was a testament to the team's skill and strategy and determination of the New York Football Giants. With exceptional performances from key players like Tuffy Leemans and Mel Hein, and under strategic guidance of Steve Owen as their coach, the Giants demonstrated their ability to excel in both offense and defensive aspects of the game, but especially the defense. They really shut some teams down that had some potent offenses against other teams. This season remains a significant chapter in the Giants' storied history, reflecting the enduring legacy of their early successes and setting the standard high for future teams. And we'll see some of those teams coming up in future episodes of the NYG 100. And we sure thank you for joining us here for this part of Giants history and celebrating the 100th season. Till next time, everybody, have a great gridiron day. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.